Hello everyone, this is Nimish and today we're going to review the movie Rangitaranga. This movie has an incredible contribution to the Kannada film industry. Not only was it one of the first films to do really well abroad all over the world, but it also kind of helped boost the image of the Kannada film industry to kind of encourage new directors, new filmmakers, debut directors to make these completely concept driven idea based movies and to make what they feel like making, young directors, and be independent from the big commercial houses, make what they want to make, get newcomers. So it completely changed the whole kind of feel of the Kannada film industry and gave everyone the kind of encouragement and courage that they have. And so we've seen that over the past 2-3 years how the Kannada film industry has been evolving, especially since 2015. Now I lived in Bangalore from 2013 to the start of 2015, probably before Rangitaranga released. Actually, right before Rangitaranga released, I left. But in those 2 years, nobody told me to watch a Kannada movie. I knew so many Kannadigas, but no one said, watch this movie, or we are going for this movie, or this actor is good. Nothing. But then I was looking back at some interviews of like Rakshit Shetty, Pawan Kumar, and I realized that the film industry has actually been changing after Rangitaranga and basically from 2015. And now we are in 2017, and we can see that how the Kannada film industry has grown like crazy, and it has got so much more exposure, so many new ideas, and it's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, moving on to the review of this very influential movie, Rangitaranga. It is a supernatural mystery kind of a movie, something that I absolutely love. So any movie like U-Turn, for example, which has some supernatural elements thrown in there and keeps us guessing with that amazing mystery, is absolutely something that I love. So I definitely enjoyed the premise of this movie. The movie progresses in a very interesting way, and then you have your grip to the screen. You want to know what's happening next, you want to know what the links are, you want to know who the characters are, and so the movie builds up very well and keeps you glued to your screen throughout. And the mystery at the end is also extremely satisfying, and the way it's presented is extremely satisfying, not something disappointing, not something boring, not something predictable. It's very satisfying, it's fun to watch, and it's very unique. And so the whole premise, the whole movie is made in this unique kind of way, which I'm sure is new for the Kannada film industry, because it's very Korean. It has a very Korean feel to it, Korean mystery thriller feel to it. But village settings, strong greens in the background, a lot of cloudy kind of scenes, and amazingly made movie. This movie was absolutely entertaining. In the first half, I must say that whenever there are pregnant women on screen, I get a little kind of shaky. And in this movie, the shock element with Radhika Chetan being pregnant and falling every time, and was completely crazy. Like, I was like, what? Like, that was just literally like shocking to the heart, because once she just fell in the well, and then once she fell down the stairs, and I was like, God, why are they doing this? So the shock elements in the first half were very well built up, and then in the second half the mystery started unraveling, and we got more of the flashbacks and what happened and stuff like that. So the movie overall was very well made. On the performances front, the actresses were both fantastic, especially Radhika Chetan, because she is kind of the main character around whom the story revolves. She did a very fabulous job. I also liked her in U-Turn, and after this movie, I feel that the actresses of the Kannada film industry, the new actresses, have been actually doing much better than the actors, because they have this great script choice, they're getting these great movies, and they're really performing extraordinarily well and making a name for themselves more than any other industry. So this is fabulous about the Kannada film industry, that the women-oriented films and women-oriented characters are so strong, and it's absolutely fantastic. Anup Bandari, who is the actor of the movie, he played a very composed, restrained, serious part. A guy who's no nonsense, he's just serious, he's living his life. He had some kind of past things happening in his life which has changed him or whatever, but he basically plays a restrained character, and that works for 85% of the film, because the character demands that and he gives that to the character, and so it all works hand in hand. But for the remaining 15%, there were scenes where I thought that he couldn't really portray the emotions very well. His dialogue delivery wasn't on point, especially in the part where the emotions go above the range. So where his range was basically in this area for 85% of the film, which is the serious kind of face and composed look, and he's finding out stuff and he's disturbed. In the highly emotional scenes, like for example with the police officer, or sometimes in the flashback, or any kind of such emotional scenes which went beyond that range, either above or below, he kind of faltered a bit. But I guess this is his first movie, so that's completely okay. I think he did a great job, and so I'm actually interested in watching his second movie, which is a complete opposite, a comedy entertainer, Rajrata, and I want to see how he performs in that movie to get a better feel of his acting. Because in this movie, although I initially thought he was doing a fantastic job, when he started faltering, I was wondering whether he's really a good actor, or this is like it just worked for the film overall. But nevertheless, that's what's important, that the roles work for the film. It's not necessary to judge everyone's acting on a really standard scale. For example, in Titi you have newcomers and villagers. It doesn't necessarily mean they are good actors or great actors. It just works for the film, and that's what's important, I feel. So that's how this acting became effective, and I would love to see more of him in the future. The supporting cast was fantastic, especially Sai Kumar, who was absolutely natural, as compared to the inspector, who I will speak about in a bit. But Sai Kumar played absolutely natural role. At no point in the movie was he over the top or something exaggerated or something really unrealistic. He was amazing, and I think I've seen him in a couple of Kannada movies as a supporting cast, and he's really an absolutely fantastic actor. On the other hand, the guy who played the cop, very substantial role in the movie, he was a very good actor too. He's a very good villain, and he could really be that annoying, evil kind of inspector that we see in movies. But I feel that the director kind of should not have thrown in those commercial elements in his character, where he keeps laughing every time, like whether it's the first time he meets Anup in the police station, he just keeps laughing like an evil kind of typical age old villain, where the villains keep laughing, ha 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 ha, then I'm so evil and I'm so bad, and you suck, and the kind of attitude. And similarly, even in the rain scene, when he just stops his car in the rain, I mean, it's raining, he's holding an umbrella, and even then he has time to laugh loudly like a villain. So I didn't like the laughing portions of the police inspector at all. Those felt like proper commercial age old things which are thrown in to make it extraordinarily obvious that he's bad. I think that his acting and his performance was very effective, even in his serious parts, to show that he's bad. He's actually a very good actor, which I think was not done justice to by the director by making him laugh again and again to make it more and more obvious. But I'm guessing that it's mainly because of the audience that is targeted. If the Kannada audience, maybe they wouldn't have enjoyed a plain character or a plain movie, so that's why some commercial elements were thrown in, just a few, to make it a little more entertaining and a little more kind of relatable. So that's my only explanation of why that must be done. I'm not sure if that was a willing or an unwilling move by the director, but those were some things that I didn't enjoy. The whole kind of laugh and some kind of commercial elements thrown in now and then is something that I didn't enjoy. Like the comedy, for example, that was fine. There's nothing wrong with it, as I said, but it just, could have been avoided maybe to make it a much more tighter, gripping thriller. Now, the suspense part, this is spoiler alert. So the suspense part of it, wherein the killer, I'm not going to say who the killer is, that's irrelevant to my discussion, but the killer who hunts pregnant women every particular year on a particular day and kind of kills them or whatever, that kind of a feel that I got when I watched that, for me it wasn't something outstandingly unique. For me, I've seen that somewhere, and for my life of it I can't point out in which movie I've seen such a kind of a killer who targets pregnant woman, who kind of is a psycho, who's had a bad kind of experience. So I've kind of seen that somewhere, and I'm not saying this is copied, but I'm just saying that these things have been done, and a lot of bunch of ideas in this movie felt kind of inspired from various places. Now, inspiration is absolutely perfectly acceptable. It's not called copying. Many people confuse the word, but copying is literally copying a scene, like a man having coffee in a blue mug with a white background will be replaced and remade in the same way. That is copying. But a man having coffee at a coffee shop can be inspirational as a scene and made as a man having coffee somewhere else. So it's just inspiration. It's just that something strikes that, oh, this is a good thing and I should have it in my movie, or I should work around this. So I think that a lot of this movie and its premise, we had felt inspired by not only Korean films, but there's also a Malayalam movie called Anandabhadram starring Prithviraj, which I watched recently, wherein a man comes to a village and there are extraordinary kind of things happening in that village. Although that movie deals with sorcery and black magic, they were also painted faces in that movie, and kind of the villain having a painted face and stuff like that, and the village and the feel pretty much had a similar feeling. So these are just inspiration. And even in my review of Ananda Badram, which I haven't yet done, I was supposed to mention the Korean influence to it. So I think that a lot of inspirations have been there in the plot points also. And so overall, this wouldn't be some kind of an extraordinarily unique, new, kind of never seen before story of film, but nevertheless it's thoroughly entertaining, it's well made, and for the Kannada film industry it's probably something not seen before because of the genre that it's in, because of the kind of way it's made and the way it's presented. So overall, because it's supernatural, it's a mystery, it's very satisfying, the performances were up to the mark, the technicals were up to the mark. I like this movie and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going with 3.5 stars for Rangitaranga. I hope you like this review. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and take care.